Oh, that's nice.
And if it immobilized one enemy, it really wouldn't be much, but it does. I think it stops all of them, if it works.
Oh, so it's a nice little one-use item.
If you go into that door on the left, there is a doctor and a nurse and a healer.
The sign gives it away, kind of like a mini hospital.
Anyway, if you're in this dungeon, you don't have to, but I think it's a good idea to read all the billboards because most of them are pretty funny.
Get some amusement.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the big things about this game. This game is meant to be funny, and I think it's... Go ahead.
I can see what you mean. It's a lot of funny. I mean, I'm not saying Mother 3 is bad, but compared to this game, it seems a little more serious.
I've never played that game.
But basically, it starts off pretty damn sad. I'm not spoiling anything, but a lot of harsh moments in that game. And this just seems more lighthearted.
Yes, this game is lighthearted for most of the way, although near the end it gets more scary.
And shoot, I think my video froze. 48 something. What time are you at?
48, 30, 31, 32.
I'm at 37 now.
Okay, yeah, you're just like a second ahead of me, or so that's fine. So yes, Brick Road likes putting billboards up. Many of them, you just read it and like, why did you say that? What is the purpose? Others will give you clues, like that one.
So you have to be on the lookout for some stuff that's actually pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the enemies in this dungeon are mostly not very strong. There is one that is pretty strong and has a particularly annoying attack, which does get used against me.
Which stinks. But we'll see that when we get to it, I bet.
Yes.
I just love how on-field the enemies are like presents. It's like, oh look, here's a nice gift. Oh, it's an enemy.
Yeah, that definitely surprised me the first time I saw it. I just remember I must have been 8 or 9. My brother and I would play the game. It was the first time we were playing through the game. We'd usually go to a friend's house, like a friend in the neighborhood, because he had a much bigger TV.
Which is a good game to play on. I'm also disappointed that they haven't really made a more newer EarthBound game. Kind of like what they're doing with Pit. They should maybe do that.
I've heard that there have been licensing disputes. And that's why we haven't seen this on the Virtual Console and things like that.
Or a more newer game.
Well, there was Mother 3, except it never got released in the US.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a good game, but you can only play it on emulations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always... doing things like that always bothers me, just the fact that it's not legal and you might get caught. So
emulators can have some issues.
Yeah, I don't do that. I mean, of course, you might say, well, you're making these videos and under copyright law, that's technically illegal, and my answer to that is, yeah, but do you see the video game companies going after Let's Players, generally?
Not them, it's more or less the NRAA and other companies who want to start internet censorship.
Well, you know the reason why the video game companies aren't going after us for this.
I know that. It's not them. Well, it is them, but they can't really do anything.
No, they could. If they wanted to, they could. But the reason why they don't is because we're giving them free advertising. That's my guess, at least.
I'm guessing other companies don't see it that way, which sucks.
Well, yeah, but with the Let's Play, it's like, when you are seeing the game, you can't play the game, you're not getting the full experience, so you might still be persuaded to buy the game. With music, if you're listening to it, you are getting that.
Also, it's not like you're stealing it, this is the bought copy of the game, so you sort of have a right to do what you want.
Well, no, not really. That's not a good argument to make, because
I mean, on your own, yeah, but
if you are using it to, if you that I couldn't agree more with the opinion on the left billboard.
Listen enough about politicians and stuff. We're not politicians, we're gamers.
Well, but I mean, I actually am a lawyer, technically, in New York. So,
I did not know that.
yes, I am licensed to practice law in the state of New York.
Go on, lawyer man.
And I certainly have friends, both lawyers and non-lawyers, who have studied copyright law extensively.
Well, that's good to know.
Okay, so what is that? Yes, that is a useful item. Cup of life noodles, by the so secret herb is equivalent to healing gamma. Cup of life noodles is equivalent to healing omega, which
Nice.
Pooh can learn later.
And what's with the teddy bear?
Oh, that is the super plush bear, which is like a teddy bear except it can take more punishment.
Ah, so it's kind of like a shield where you can let enemies hit it, and it won't take damage.
Right, and an enemy won't always hit it, but sometimes they will. And in particular, negative status effects seem to get targeted at the teddy bear or super plush bear. And of course, they won't do anything to it. The game keeps giving me useless items. And the mystical record healed itself somehow.
But that's not really important because it's dead now.
But, like, this is what I love about this game. It's like, who thinks of an RPG where you fight stuff like LP records?
It's a crazy world of EarthBound. It's fun and it's quirky. I like it.
But this is like, there's a certain type of humor that... By the way, if you want me to cut that part out, I will.
Yeah, it was just my mom checking on me.
Well, but I mean because it sounded like a certain thing was mentioned that you might not want to be known about you.
No, you can cut it.
Okay, yeah, I'll cut it. Okay.
It's just my mom checking on me. Nothing really important about my life.
Well, I mean, I think she mentioned your name, that's why.
Yeah. Well, some people know my name.
So, do you want me to cut it, or...?
Yeah, you can cut it.
Okay. I will do that then.
Notice opening attack.
Yeah, I mean, not that it really matters with these guys because they're so weak, but...
It helps.
Worthless protoplasm is worthless. But I was saying that it's just, there's a kind of humor that the Japanese seem to like, with just, like, weird, like, wacky and random stuff. Anyway, the reason why I was on this floor for so long is because I got lost. But I did remember the rope that you have to take. Only the third rope will allow you to move on. The other three lead to dead ends.
Okay. That's kind of awkward.
Yeah, well, at least you'll know pretty quickly. Although, there are some enemies that... What is a dungeon?
Exactly.
There are some enemies. Also, those benches are... It's just like in Skyward Sword. If you see a place to sit down, it means that you can heal fully.
Nice. Kind of like it in the game, too.
Okay, this is the one enemy you will encounter here that actually is kind of strong.
That's your mook.
And this is another thing. Only a game like EarthBound would actually call an enemy a mook.
Or lesser for that.
Well, not necessarily. Okay, so freeze attacks do not work on these guys, as I just learned. But fire attacks do. Well, I mean, it really didn't do much damage. It did like 27 damage or something. So now I fry them. And that does do something.
Nice.
Ow.
There's the attack I mentioned that they can freeze you.
Oh, that wasn't the one I was thinking of,
Oh.
but... Yeah, they have one that's even more of a dick move.
We'll have to see that.
But that attack really didn't do that much damage because when you end the battle, whatever damage is already... I love that billboard. You can't... I know you can't hear the music, but when you do hear it, it's pretty silly and not the kind of thing that someone would typically call his greatest accomplishment.
This brick road's certainly a strange fellow.
Yes, it is. And it sounds like dogs here.
Yeah, it's my place, sorry.
No problem.
I mean, I would try to go down there and keep them quiet, but can't really do that, so...
No, believe me, no problem.
And speaking of dogs, I've actually got another dog, so now I have 4 dogs and 4 cats in my place. Once times.
Wow. You guys must devote a significant amount of time to pet care.
Well, that's my mom and my family. I'm not really a pet person myself.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wasn't... By you guys, I meant your
Do you have
family.
any pets?
No, I'm actually allergic to cat hair, unfortunately, because I would love to have a cat. Dogs kind of stress me out, but I'd love to have a cat if I were not allergic.
Try getting a cat without fur.
I don't really like those cats. Frankly, they just look kind of ugly. So I wasn't sure if the for sale sign would work here, but oddly enough it does.
Oh, well, how convenient.
Yeah, it's hard to tell where the for sale sign will work and where it won't, because there are some places where it won't work and the person will call you and say, well, I saw your sign, but I couldn't find you. But then in other areas that you'd think would be inaccessible, they can get there fine.
Nice.
So this is basically Dungeon Man's Zoo, this floor. There are a bunch of monsters here, but they can't hurt you because they're in enclosed areas.
Oh, okay.
And again, I wasn't doing this for the money as much as to get rid of stuff. Gruff goat. They are a really gruff kind of goat. No, really?
So he's describing some of the enemies now.
Yes. Reminds me vaguely of my days at Swarthmore. Except at Swarthmore the signs were on trees.
I see.
Because it's an arboretum.
Must be nice out there.
Oh yes, it's very nice. Especially like this time of year, I'm thinking it's getting... because the stuff is going to be blooming soon.
So it must be pretty nice to see when it blooms.
Yeah, yesterday I think it was, either yesterday or the day before, I just felt like I wanted to listen to the track from Tales of Vesperia that was a Halor, however you pronounce that place. I haven't played that game, but I've seen some of it on Masayanella's Let's Play.
I see.
And that town is like, it's all built around this big tree. And like when it blooms, there's some positive magical effect that it has. I forget the details. I don't have enough billboards, so I'm just gonna have a billboard telling you what another billboard says.
Exactly.
So that's his face.
Hello.
Which means he has two faces, because he also has a face on the outside.
I see.
Which reminds me of something that Abraham Lincoln once said when responding to a criticism that he was two-faced. He said, "If I had two faces, why would I be wearing this one?"
Exactly. So now we're getting close to leaving that.
Yes. You can't go in that hole yet, so you have to go in the other one.
And we're out. Sort of.
Not yet. You have to go down all of the floors. Oh, that's a nice present. I give those to Jeff so that he can fix more stuff.
Which makes sense.
Although I've heard that some people will give them to other characters. Like, Paula is also a good choice because IQ makes your max PP go up more quickly for characters other than Jeff. And yeah, I had not saved in a while, so I decided it would be a good idea to do so now. Yeah, when you die, you won't always be put back where you last saved. Like, if you went a really long way, like, if you pass through certain places, then there'll be, like, hidden checkpoints.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so you don't really need any money now, so got rid of it.
So now we are out.